Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to my channel. Today's recipe is ratatouille. Now this is inspired from the movie Ratatouille, Disney's movie Ratatouille, and it's inspired like the way the rat makes it in the movie. Now the original recipe for ratatouille is actually more chunky and more soupy like, but he makes it a little bit different in this movie, so I decided to try to make it like that. This recipe, my kids really love it, and I did change up a few things because I wanted to make it easier and a little bit faster. Now the ingredients that you need is 3 cloves of garlic, 1 medium-sized green zucchini, then you will need 1 normal-size yellow squash zucchini, 2 tomatoes, and 1 potato. I try to get from a large medium-sized potato. Then I'll be using marinara sauce. Tomato basil sauce tastes better, but if you don't have that, then marinara sauce, and then just add some basil in or oregano in. So the seasonings we'll be using is onion powder, white pepper, black pepper, oregano, and parsley leaves, and of course salt. Now I used a 9x9 circle dish just for the sake of this video. I usually try to use a larger dish so I can use all my ingredients. Now what you're going to do is you're going to slice up the zucchinis into circles, and same with the squash. Make sure your oven is preheated to 350 before you start this part. All your fresh ingredients should be circle sliced, and make sure they're all, 1/2 inch thick or a little bit thinner than that. Then we're going to use around a cup of marinara sauce, and we'll put it at the bottom of the tray. And it's a really simple recipe. It's just basically assembling everything. So the reason why I use pre-made sauce is because it's easier and a little bit faster for me to make it, and especially if the kids really want it, then it's just a really fast way to make. I will do a video some other time about how to make the sauce that the rat makes in the movie, but for now we're just going to stick with marinara sauce. Once you have your marinara sauce in, you're going to take your garlic. Make sure you have it minced beforehand, and just throw it all over the sauce, and make sure it's like evenly spread out, because nobody likes to have a huge chunk of garlic in their mouth. And once you have your garlic all spread evenly, then we're going to start throwing in some of our ingredients, and we're going to first use onion powder. Just sprinkle it on top. You will need around like 1/4 teaspoon. Same with the white pepper, you only need 1/4 teaspoon. The reason why I didn't use teaspoons is because I've made this recipe so many times that it's just easier to sprinkle it on top. Same thing with the oregano, you only need 1/4 of a teaspoon, and just sprinkle that on top of the sauce. Once these 3 ingredients are sprinkled on top, that's when you're going to start assembling it. And what you do is basically you go by color. You go by green, and then you put your potato, then you put your yellow zucchini, and then you put your tomato. If you have the thin eggplants, they look really long. They look a lot like a zucchini, but they're not really thick. If you can find those would go really nice in this recipe as well. Now once you have everything assembled and looking all pretty, then you're going to take some black pepper, which would be around 1/4 of a teaspoon as well. Sprinkle it on top. And then you're going to sprinkle 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. I do suggest using your fingers and not a spoon, because as you can see, I did make a mistake right there, and I dropped a whole bunch of salt in one area. So I would suggest using your finger and sprinkling it on instead. Now the last thing you will need is Parmesan cheese, and I used around 1/4 of a cup, and I just sprinkled it on top. Make sure everything is nicely coated with the Parmesan cheese. And I did, afterwards, when serving it, I did put some more cheese on top just to give it a nice taste. I have used mozzarella before, that also gives it a nice taste, but you will have to use 1/8 of a cup of mozzarella if you are planning on to using mozzarella. Then I took out a wax paper and I cut it to look like a circle so I could get covered. You don't want to use foil because we do want some of the air escaping, because zucchinis, they let out some water, and if you let it steam, your ratatouille will be left really watery and really soupy, and we don't want that. So the reason why we use wax paper is because it still lets the air come out from the sides, and it's not really steaming but cooking at the same time. It's not burning the top of your zucchinis. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of zucchini and some tomatoes and potatoes left over. I do have a recipe planned out for that later, so I did put it in a container and put it in the fridge. But if you are using a bigger tray than I was, then you should be able to use all your zucchini and potato and tomato. Once you are done covering it, make sure you put it in the oven, and you're going to bake it for around 25 minutes. It should look a little bit like this once you are done. Mine was a little bit watery because I took it out early to take a picture of it, but that's how it looks plated. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for more videos.